So let's kick off, Dr. Bose.
Yep.
What brought you to sustainable hospitality?
Yes, so that's the first question, when very predictable. Good afternoon, good evening, everybody. And thank you so much for being with us on this global launch. We launched this book in Mumbai and London, but this is our hometown, our headquarters. This is our home, and IHM Global Campus is where our heart is. So it's such a great pleasure to be here with all of you. So once again, thank you all for joining us in celebrating this launching. As we start this book, we started writing just after COVID, because post-COVID, the industry have changed, sea change in the terms of sustainability, in terms of the way we run business. And sustainability at one point of time was a very fancy word. It was a lip service given to so many people. But COVID taught us that sustainability is very important to our very existence. And when we talk about sustainability, it's not about the biological sustainability. We talk about the social sustainability. We talk about the economic sustainability. And these things have come to light after COVID, possibly more in a more forceful way, so to say, and opened a lot of thinking. So this book was written in an A to Z format, where we started with A and A for automation. So we went to Z, where we describe each of the sustainability issues that will be handled the way it should be handled. And as you said, Paul, it's a collective initiative from the industry, where the industry leaders from all over the world have kind of contributed in how to handle this. So I'm very grateful to them, very thankful to them, right from the CEO of the Marriott, Mr. Capuno, to my very dear friend Sanjeev Kapoor, David Foskett, our mentor. Everyone has put in their point of view and a lot of practical tips about how to handle this sustainability, especially the social and economic part.
Absolutely. So I've obviously read the book, I've gone through the book, and it is very interesting. When people talk about sustainability, they often think about what that means for the environment, what that means for the world, global warming. But this really takes a different perspective. It talks about the social benefits of being a business that takes sustainability with importance. And then if you take case studies of where that social benefit can be highlighted to create a business, an economic benefit. So I think that's a kind of a different and slight and more interesting way, perhaps a way that engages more with students, with people who are in business, with people who are running companies, than just talking about what the environment is doing. It's about what you do as a social, in your social level, supporting people, helping people, making sure that your colleagues are all supported, but then that then leads to economic benefits.
I think absolutely that is exactly the prime point, prime focus, because social sustainability is more important than even the physical sustainability, I believe, because it's all about people. Our industry is all about people. It's of the people, by the people, for the people. And everything we do should be featured for supporting the colleagues, supporting the associate, supporting the employees, supporting the creditors, supporting the suppliers and the guest, and the entire ecosystem of the people supporting the industry, right from the tour operators to the airlines, all play a very important part. Without the flights, you cannot come and stay in a hotel. Without the good infrastructure, you cannot reach the hotel. Without good chef, you cannot eat good food. It's all about people. So it's very important that we support each other, support the people, and unless that is done, the industry will not really grow economically. We have seen in COVID, there has been lockdowns, there has been pay cuts, and there has been people paid 50% of salary, 40% of salary, and people left the industry. We lost a lot of talent. There are a lot of my general manager friends out here. We lost some very good talents, and those talents never came back. But we made sure that if another calamity like COVID hits in the future, we will be much more secure because of the social sustainability that most of the hotels are now embracing.
Excellent, excellent. So before we play our second video, I'd just like another quote from the book, and it's from Priya Prawl, the chairperson of the Park Hotels, who I think we all know here, and it's from one of the cover quotes, and I think it's very important. The importance of sustainability for the hospitality industry is paramount, as tourism and travel rely heavily on natural and cultural resources for growth and development. So that really hits on the idea of culture, but also, business. Both things are equally as important and relevant.
Absolutely. What Mrs. Priya Paul said, I think sums up the entire story, that it is so important. And again, it's about people. She's talking about the culture. She's talking about the social responsibility. And we are a people industry. Absolutely. So absolutely, I think a great quote from Priya Paul.
There are challenges. I mean, it's the book talks about lots of solutions. It talks about lots of ideas. But perhaps you can share what you see as some of the key challenges in terms of sustainability that lie ahead of us. What do we need to work on? Where do we need to put our extra effort to make this sustainability a really important, crucial part of the hospitality industry, but also win that argument with people?
Yeah, I think the challenges are more in the mind than anywhere else. We need to be much more conscious about what's happening. I think if COVID haven't taught us a lesson, then we'll never learn a lesson. We should be much more responsible now. We should be spending a part of our revenue. And to be very honest, the industry is doing absolutely gung-ho now. A lot of good business happening all over the industry, across. And I think part of the revenue should be there for the social welfare, for the welfare of the social sustainability and social mobility. I think the challenges lies, again, to accept the fact that this is so important. I still feel there are a lot of people who feel that this is something which can be avoided. So we need to train, we need to educate, we need to talk, we need to write books like this and make sure that this is very important part of the existence. And without the social sustainability, without the social mobility, the economic sustainability will never happen. And if the economic sustainability do not happen, then an industry will not go on for a long period. You take the example of the Taj hotels, which have existed for more than 155, 65 years. And it will be for the next 100 years because they are very committed to their social responsibility and they are very committed to the social sustainability. So that's one of the challenge. The other challenge is that a lot of environment factor which needs to be addressed, which are still not done. I still go to some of the biggest 5-star hotels and see maybe a huge corridor, all the lights are on, all we need to put some sensors, but it's just nobody there. So we need to be much more agile, we need to be much more on our toes to make sure that we save the energy, we do our recycling in the right sense of the term, we do a lot of things which are not really done before. Certain things like, for example, the sachet of the shampoos, conditioners, body lotions can be done away with the big dispensers, which can save a lot of money and sustainability. And I think reuse, recycling is something that we should be doing as a rule and not as an option.
Do you think that we can manage the customer expectation? So people who are staying in a 5-star hotel, they're expecting luxury, a level of service that goes above and beyond their normal experiences, perhaps. So is there a way that we can balance sustainability while also making sure that the customer experience is as high quality as expected?
Yes. So we have coined this term called sustainable luxury. So luxury can still be sustainable. And that is exactly what we need to talk to our guests also. The people who come to the 5 stars more often than not are quite conscious about sustainability. They are educated, they are entrepreneurs, they're in business, they are executives, and we need to talk with them. For example, if we are not washing or changing their towels for 2 days, it's fine. If they're okay with that, we are saving water, we are saving soap, we are saving resources. If we are not changing their bed sheet for 2 days, if they're okay, it's okay. So we need to engage with the customer much more consciously and carry this sustainability together and not as an one-way ticket. I think that's what we have to do.
Absolutely. So now we're going to talk a little bit more about the book. Now the book is in an A to Z format, and each letter of the alphabet has a different issue, a different industry expert talking. Are there a couple of ideas from the book or a couple of areas that you are particularly fond of that you could share with us?
Yes, so when we are creating this book, we wanted an inclusive voice. We wanted a collective voice of the industry. And exactly what you read, what Priya Paul wrote, or what Puneet Chatwal, the managing director of the Taj Hotel, wrote here. I think it's a collective voice of the industry that we are talking about. We're not talking about an individual voice of Suborno Bose. And when we come together as an industry together, and we tell the industry this is what the sustainability is all about, and the industry have to progress with. There is a cost, yes, but there is much bigger benefit than the cost. So this is something which we kind of found out works very well, and I must congratulate the industry for coming out with such great initiative after COVID. They are paying better now, fortunately, for all of us. They're looking after people better. It used to be always a 4 days a week holiday for the hotel. Now it's 6 days to 8 days in a month, not 4 days in a month. They are giving much better work-life balances. They are looking after the associates, the suppliers, the ecosystem, the operators, the travel agents, much better. I think the entire collective wisdom of the industry is in this book. And that makes this book so special, so extraordinary. It's not just one man writing what he thinks, but it's about 50 people writing what they think.
Absolutely.
And that is the voice of the industry.
And I think Professor Foskett was telling us that he thinks that this is the first book on sustainability, certainly the first book that's been published since COVID in India. And obviously we can't say if it's the first in the world because we don't have those resources to track the whole world. But it is interesting that, that there hasn't been more written or more study done in terms of sustainability and hospitality. So in a lot of ways, Dr. Bose, I guess you want to see this as something that's going to lead the way.
Absolutely. This is the first book, and I'm sure a lot of authors will write after this book, because post-COVID, this is indeed the first book in India, at least, on the sustainability in the industry. And we have written it in a collective voice. And I think this would be a book that can be a benchmark for a lot of books to follow in this particular topic, which will actually not only be economically sustainable for the hotels. I'm sure by following the social sustainability, environmental sustainability, all the hotels, the industry as a whole will benefit hugely. So this book will actually change the bottom line, and there will be more profits actually if you follow the ones that has been here.
And it's very much the need of the hour. Just this last week, there's been lots of news about global warming, the temperature of the earth.
Yes.
So
Absolutely.
taking these steps towards sustainability
Yes,
is
absolutely.
absolutely vital and much expected from customers.
Absolutely. Absolutely, Paul.
So we talked about some of the challenges, we've talked about some of the reasons for creating this work, but now I want to, we'll try and finish on a positive note,
Yes.
which are benefits. So perhaps you can share some of your views on where we can really benefit in terms of sustainability.
I think the biggest benefit comes in the very survival, because we have seen so many restaurants, so many hotels close down. So on a very positive note, I think if we embrace the principles of sustainability, especially I stress on social and economic sustainability, of course, the physical, biological sustainability is very important for the entire planet. I think the survival, the thrival process will be much better. During COVID, we spoke about survivals and then we spoke about thriving. So now on, the thriving process will be much more stronger if we can go and follow the social sustainability. It is something which is not an option. It is not something which is not something you may or may not do. It is something which we have to do. If we don't do it, maybe another COVID can sweep us off. So on a very positive note, I'm very happy to say most of the hospitality organization, especially the bigger ones, are already into it. They are following the sustainable practices. They are looking after their people better, much better. They are giving much better work-life balances so people can have a good life and not just slog for hours. And I think the industry would be a much better place in a couple of years from now once we embrace this entire ecosystem of sustainability.
2 innovations, so go on, share us a couple of innovations you like.
Yes, actually there are many, but I'll just say 2. I think my A for automation, and it wasn't like a no-brainer, because we need automation, we need technology to come to the rescue of the industry. We are using a lot of technology, but we need more technology. We are using a lot more than we ever did before, and so that we can reduce waste, because one of the biggest problem in industry is the waste. So reduction of waste is something that will save cost and hence increase profits. And that profit can go for social sustainability cost and can help us to achieve economic sustainability. The second one, apart from automation, is that reduction of inequality, which is SDG goal number 12. We are looking at more inclusive world. LGBT is one of the areas where I think all hotels should be working. There is some amazing work done by hotel like Lemon Tree, and we need to get the people from different parts. And I think the very fact that the people from the LGBT clan, LGBT section should be brought in a mainstream. They are fantastic workers, and we need to treat them equally. So reduce inequality can solve a lot of staffing problem, solve a lot of manpower problem, and can bring light to the life of millions of people.
I suppose it's that idea that the sustainability, there are some things that just sit naturally with sustainability. So inclusivity would be one.
Absolutely, inclusivity.
So
yes.
I mean that's a really nice message, and perhaps a good message to finish on, that for our sustainability to work, we have to be absolutely inclusive.
Yes, inclusivity. And
Great.
of course, before we finish, Paul, partnership, which is goal number 17 of the SDG. I think partnership is very important. Partnership with the hotel and the employee, partnership with the hotel and the customer, with associate, with suppliers, with other areas of the system like tour operators, everybody. I think partnership will be playing a very important role, and partnership with the hotel and academia, very important. So partnership should be forming the DNA of the future sustainability practices.
Excellent. So I think that's a good place to finish. What do you think, Dr. Bose?
I'm fine.
Good place to finish. Great.
Yes.
So thank you to everyone for being here and being part of this. The program hasn't finished yet. But I think that's the moment where we exit stage right. Is that right?
Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
For a great hospitality career, call 98310 50,000.